In this video, I want to describe the changes that have been made in this update to the entanglement rig. I think the best way to do that would be to first introduce the modes, and you'll see that with dynamic and dynamic mode, notice on the attribute to the right, when this is off, there are two modes: guide surfaces and mash paths. And then when dynamic is on, we've got renderable surfaces and renderable curves. Okay. This change with using what's changed here is that in order to achieve the natural waving in the wind of a ribbon twisting effect that Shad described in the most recent notes video, it was necessary to make changes to the underlying way that the rig works. And so now then, when the animator, everything works the same as before, except now instead of using a curve between the two characters, the animator will use a surface. And the only thing different in controlling and how the surface behaves compared to how the curve behaves that was described in the first video is that these two controllers at each end, here and here, here and here, they now control the initial twist. That is the twist before dynamics are involved. So the initial state, this will be these strips in all cases are the goals in setup mode, in non-dynamics mode, in surface mode, of setup mode. These are the goals for the ribbons in dynamic mode. Just ignore that if that was confusing. But anyway, these curves now control the twist of the ribbon. So if I select this, you'll see that the ribbon is twisting according to their positions. Okay, so the other mode in non-dynamic mode is mash paths. So right now mash paths are off. If I turn mash paths on, these now turn back into the paths that will be used to provide the mash paths for the procedural elements that ride on top of this. And there's really nothing that the animator needs to know about this other than this mode exists, and if you see the curves, then you can turn it off by using this. Now, also in this update, we've got control of how many ribbons are on at a time, depending on the needs of the shot or the needs of a part of a shot. Now you can use 1, 2, or 3. So if I turn off ribbon 2 and 3, notice that there is just one. Now this ribbon is pointing up, and in none of the cases of these, of 1, 2, or 3, is one ribbon any different than the other. The positions of their initial state is completely arbitrary, and they can be used in any circumstance which is most convenient. So you don't need to worry about which one you use. Okay, so now then if I want to demonstrate the twisting motion that we now have, the twist in the wind motion that we now have. So I will put this turn dynamic mode on and turn this on, and you notice now that the ribbon is twisting. Now in dynamic mode, we also have a render curves mode. Remember from this graph, dynamic mode is now on. We've got two modes: renderable surfaces, renderable curves. And so I'll now turn render curves on, and it turns into what are now renderable curves. These can be used in conjunction with the surfaces, and I have a graphic for that. Let's see, I have to load that up. That demonstrates what the difference is between how the curves render and how the surfaces render. So this is in curve mode, and notice here that this is a textured curve. And by the way, regarding textures, I just want to mention that the rig has now been tested up to a mile. Seems to work fine. Although there hasn't been a lot of testing, so if anyone wants to load it up and put it through some paces, that'd be great. Get back with me with any problems you find. So on this graphic, notice that we have here areas of this. This is curve mode. Then we've got areas of this curve that are transparent, or technically non-opaque, and then we've got textures that vary in coloration. And so what I'm trying to say, and also notice that the curves are interacting with the environment. We've got some reflection here, some diffuse reflection off of the surface of this shape. Okay, so what I'm saying is this could be any color. This configuration of visible, invisible, of the color of the texture, the distribution of the texture, the amount of light coming out of it, that's all configurable, and that's something that as we develop the look, we can dial in. The next one is the ribbon mode. Notice it's very much the same. We've got the same possibility for distribution of color, distribution of light and dark, and distribution of transparency. So as we move forward, we can decide how best to use either the curve modes or the ribbon mode. So that will be coming next. Let's see if I covered everything. Yeah, I think that's it. That's the latest update for the entanglement rig. Let me know if it needs anything else, and I'm going to continue on with developing the elements, trying to the elements workflow. So that's it. Thanks a lot.